So I can think of a couple of items, and then I have a question and for you as a former CFO at a small hospital with billing issues. To your point, we saw as a part of process the need to train some staff, and then as they learn the information, having to and then with a new system incorporate what the workflow changes were going to be in order to put them on track. Or similarly, when working at a software company, the same issue is identifying the workflow and then how people are going to do things differently. And one of the things that I discovered was habits die hard. People kind of easily slip back to what I mean, you can have a meeting and say everybody agreed to do X, and then you come back and find that only half the people are doing the new X and they're still doing the Y. So that means you got to be having regular check-ins. So how do what do you recommend for regular check-ins to create sustainable change in those early first few days of a new system?
Yeah, I like the term check-in, and it's more than a few days. I mean, it has to happen over has to happen regularly over a sustained period of time, because to your point, uh, people do things by rote, and so they are very habitual. Old habits are very habitual, and so there has to be checkpoints in place. So um, one of the things, there's a couple of things that we like to do, is we like to have the leadership team, that they are the ones that are actually doing the instructing and teaching, because as you know, when you have to teach something, you really learn it and understand it, right? And so we like to start there, and then we like to have, whoever their lieutenants are, do the same thing. But in the process, we also have them put in place. And initially, these checkpoints happen more often. So depending on the organization, it may happen initially every week, and then we move that ultimately to every month, and then to every quarter. So it's the checkpoints begin to not have to happen as regularly, but initially they need to happen fairly often, because people will fall back onto old habits. And not only that, they just may be confused, because now they're trying to make a change to something that they know very well. And now they're having to change and do something new. So we also like to, if you will, I think, from the standpoint of making it exciting, we also like to kind of gamify, this the whole process, so that it's fun, uh, because the reality is change is not always fun. And when you talk about change, some people embrace change, they thrive on change, where others are quite the opposite, and change essentially shuts them down. So you have to make sure that you have the right processes in place, so that when you're doing the checkpoints, that you're identifying those who are basically locked up, if you will, and having a hard time making progress, versus those who are running so fast, full speed ahead, that maybe they're also missing some things that they need to be doing, because they're just embracing this whole idea of change.